I'm like the total opposite.
Okay, go ahead.
when I like was okay starting, to start dating, or when guys would approach or anything like that, if they're Middle Eastern, I'd be like, no. I don't want that. I don't want that culture anymore to be because I know what a Middle Eastern culture is.
Yeah.
I don't want to be oppressed again. I don't want to be stopped from, doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so that just made me like, I don't want that. And I've seen it with a lot of my friends, and I don't want it.
Yeah.
Welcome to Do You AGRAY, a space where we have real conversations. I have with me Lionel, my co-host today. And today we have a special episode for you guys. We've brought in Germeen, Phoebe, and Sandy. And welcome.
Thank you.
Nice having you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Good. Yeah, we're friends from a long time ago. And today we wanted to get into the topic of relationships. And we're going to discuss marriage, being single, and being in a relationship. What is it like, specifically growing up in an Egyptian culture, Middle Eastern culture, and migrating to the United States, and what it's like here. So, yeah, we're excited. We just wanted to hear from each of you first, where you grew up, what was life like in the Middle East, and then when did you come here to the United States? How old were you? We can start with Germeen.
Okay. So, like you said, I grew up in Egypt, in Cairo. And I came, how old?
Yeah.
That's okay. So I came to the US when I was 18. And I came straight to college. Just as an international student, I came straight to La Sierra University.
Cool. Phoebe, since you're next.
Yeah. Yeah, my name is Phoebe, and I grew up in Egypt in like 5 different places because
Nice. That's good.
Tell us why.
Yeah.
my dad is a pastor, so we moved a ton of times, and so we lived in southern part, the northern part, all kinds of cities, and so it was a lot of adjusting and adapting all the time, and then I came here for college when I was 18. Yeah.
Wow.
Same.
I don't think I have to say anything because we have the same story. We moved a lot.
Yeah.
Came here when I was 18.
Yeah.
Not to the
Oh,
same.
18 as well.
Yeah, I came here
Wow.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was more in the southern parts too.
Okay.
But I was more in the cities, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was...
Because your dad is also
Yeah,
a
he was also a
pastor.
pastor. So, it's same thing. I
Yeah.
don't know where I'm from, really.
That's why we're friends.
Yeah. And
But,
we've known each other from Iraq.
From Iraq,
when your
yeah.
dad was pastoring our
that's
church.
right,
Yeah.
Exactly. So, we didn't really stay in Egypt the whole time. We did travel in the Middle East a lot.
Yeah.
But majority of the time we were in Egypt. So, I would like to
Nice.
say I'm Egyptian.
Cool. Awesome. And you came.
By blood.
My blood.
Right. You came to where in the States?
California.
California,
Yeah,
and
California.
Yeah, I went to Michigan.
Michigan,
Yeah.
and then Sandy.
Pittsburgh first, but then California right after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. We should probably ask what's your relationship status, because that's gonna
It's a
make
good-
sense,
yeah, it's a good
when we discuss.
introduction.
Yeah.
So I am married to this man.
Really? Surprise.
And I'm single. Yeah.
Cool.
Then I'm in a relationship.
Awesome. Yeah. So we want to get a little bit of get to know what did you think, or what were you expected to do as a female in the Middle East? What do females expected to do in the Middle East? As far as relationships, like what's the process? What are the steps
Yeah.
of dating and engagement and marriage?
Yeah, because most of the people from outside the world, I think we have no idea. It's interesting to ask the questions because I feel like outside of movies and I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
We don't know what the
It's a
approach of
mysterious
people.
world
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In another
especially
culture.
you come from France, so
Yeah.
it's probably a little bit different. Yeah.
That's I really want to
Yeah.
hear. So that's really cool.
Yeah. I think because we were pastors' kids, like, so, and girls. So
Yeah.
we were really, I mean, I felt the pressure for sure.
Explain and girls, because he understands that it's like a given
Yeah.
girls in the
Yeah.
Middle East because he's Middle Eastern. But
Yeah.
what do you mean? Leonardo's like, what do you mean and girls? You know?
Yeah.
Explain.
It's a lot of pressure, you know. You are basically carrying the honor of your
The family
parents,
name.
the family, the dad. What? Yeah, is he? Are you coming from a good home because you're a good girl, or your home is just the whole family is like dishonored because of your actions and your reputation?
Wow.
So it's very intense, you know, and
For
so
guys, it's okay.
Okay.
Like, they can do whatever they want, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay,
They'll
okay.
have a little bit of, you know, the parents will be
Yeah.
disappointed maybe, but they won't be like, you dishonored us.
yeah.
I
So
see.
Yeah.
most of the families, I think it's a culture.
Okay.
Not everybody's like that, but it's a
I see.
cultural.
And then add to that the Adventist community, very small in Egypt, right? And so, and then you go to an Adventist high school, you know, and so everybody knows everybody, especially if you're a
Yeah.
pastor's kid.
I see.
Everybody knows your parents, okay? So you better, you know,
Behave.
best behavior ever, you know.
Yeah.
If it's not for you, it's for your parents, because that was a lot of pressure.
So yeah, like she mentioned, Phoebe mentioned, reputation is very big, you know. And with that, like, in the Egyptian culture, like, you know, because, like, you know, I was saying, we went to an Adventist high school. It was like Western, like Americanized, or
Yeah.
you know, so it's kind of different because we are more influenced by the West. But like in the country itself, in Egypt, I guess now it's changing too, but I think when we were there, I would say like you don't just go dating, you know,
No,
you should
yeah.
not, at least, like you shouldn't just go dating. Like if someone wants to actually go out with you, they would have to come and ask for your hand first.
Oh wow.
So kind of like get engaged.
Your engagement is
First.
your dating.
Then you
Is
do
your
much.
dating.
Oh wow.
Because
Interesting.
they kind
Engagement
of
is your
decide during engagement. So
Yeah.
engagement is not like that's a done deal. Like,
Right.
you know, we're just preparing for marriage. No, we're getting engaged so
get to
we
know each
can, so we can actually go out.
Yeah.
So we can actually get to know each other. So that's kind of the, and like you know, sadly, there's a lot of pressure on the girls, you know, in Egypt.
And how is
I'm sure in Iraq too.
how is the relationship with your mothers then in this case? Like what are the type of relationship and values that the moms are giving their girls based on that track of thinking?
That's a tough question because we understand our mothers because they grew up in an actually worse situation than us.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
They were
of course.
more confined than we are right now, but it's hard to understand each other. They still think in that way. They still
see.
think that, no, you shouldn't date. Don't date. That's a bad idea.
I see.
When we try to talk to them, they're not engaging in a positive, open-minded, way. So it's frustrating. And I would say the relationship is frustrating when it comes to dating.
I see.
Very frustrating.
I
Yeah.
see.
So you would should we conclude that the culture you grew up in is more conservative?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And-
absolutely.
Definitely.
And does it suppress women,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
even though you come from a Christian
Yes.
background?
Yeah.
Because even if your parents are open-minded,
It's
or
better for Christian,
the whole culture
I would
isn't.
say. Right?
A little bit.
Little bit.
Yeah,
A little
bit. But some Christians, like if you're in the village, it doesn't
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It's
You know, it's not that much.
So I think it
different.
has also to do
Yeah.
with where
The
are you from,
environment.
Yeah, the
too.
the
location.
environment.
Yeah.
I mean, there are
Who you grew up with. Yeah.
movie stars and that.
They're okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
look
There
like
is
Europeans or
extremes. Yeah.
westernized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
But I think going back to the being like how the relationships mindset at that time, you know, where we grew up, and so we have to be on the best behavior, and so best behavior meaning you don't get into relationships. So that was my definition in there, you know, how I perceived it. So I think it kind of made me maybe miss out on experiences, you know, and like, so we talk about this a lot, like how we didn't get to even make mistakes, or not big mistakes, but just
That's it.
Yeah.
We just watched other people make mistakes.
yes.
And that was our learning experience.
Yeah,
but
but
when it comes to doing it, you're like, okay, so what do I do now?
Exactly. You're
I don't know.
clueless. Like, it's not, I think we missed out on learning.
And how was it, the transition when you came to the US? And so you had the same parents with the same culture, but then you're in a country where the culture is totally
open.
How do you adapt to that? It's like day and night.
Yeah, absolutely.
You came here first.
I
so.
did, yeah. I think I was to myself a lot because I didn't know how to do, like how to, like the difference was too big that I just kept to myself.
I have to
for a
talk
while.
about the
Go
difference
ahead.
too, because I have to be very honest. I was kind of scared to even to be into any relationship in the US, because the culture is too extreme. Where like, you know, I still have my own like beliefs. Like I didn't want to be like too physical, you know, before marriage, or this, or like things that that were important to me. But coming here and seeing a different side of the culture, where it's just on the other extreme, where you know it's okay, just go out, do anything, you know, and you know doesn't even have to work out. It made me scared. I was too scared to like to just like, I'm like no I can't, like I'm just scared to be in that environment, because it's just so foreign to me. Like not
Was
what
that your
what I
guys' experience too?
Yeah.
Fear of like the
Fear
unknown,
of,
or
for sure, of the unknown.
For sure. I remember the very first time, because we don't touch each other as a guy, like guys and girls, we don't touch each other in Egypt. Not even a hug.
Yeah.
Usually
Handshake.
Yeah, and maybe handshake.
What's the
cousins or
consequence?
something.
What's the consequence?
People will say
that's
that
like
you're-
bad reputation.
Oh,
You're
bad
bringing bad
Exactly.
reputation to your
Or
yes,
at the
to
school
your
you guys
family.
went, you would be
we weren't
expelled?
allowed to.
I guess suspended
For a few
first
days,
for a
yeah.
couple for a week or something,
Yeah.
and then your mom would know that.
I know.
Yeah, she was our dean. Yeah.
Your mom was already.
Yes. And yeah, but I remember. Okay, so when I first came to Michigan, I went to the university there, and then I remember the very first time a guy like just hugged me like this, just like this, and I was so like, I was so in shock, like my face was red. I don't know. I felt like my heart dropped. Like what just happened?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were used to that.
I wasn't. No, I
The
wasn't.
first times are honestly, I think, even like for a guy, first times of everything is like intense, exhilarating, or
Right.
yeah,
Culture shock.
exactly,
Yeah.
Very much.
So, when you guys came here, did you feel the pressure of the culture? Like, did you have to fit into this culture, or could you keep your
Culture.
identity? Or
were your parents trying to have you be in relationship with people from your culture, and like trying to push out people from other cultures? How does that work?
For me, I came with my parents, so it was the same.
The same in a different context.
They don't want me to come home late. They don't want me to talk to guys like that. They don't want me to do anything, and I was okay with it because I had the same values that they had. I grew up with them, not to their standards, but like I was okay having guy friends. I was okay to study with guys. They weren't, so I had to ease them into it. We had a lot of discussions, a lot of fights about why it's fine to do that.
Yeah, what's the standard?
And that I'm not even dating them. I'm just hanging out with guys. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely, they're okay with it. They're not happy, but they're okay with it. Then I had to go to school, and then I have to stay late, and I have to study with guys, and I have to. So they became accustomed to the new life that I'm having here.
I see.
But I'm thinking from the parent standpoint. I'm a parent, and that must be terrifying. Because you move from a place that you know, from people that you know,
Right.
to totally different standard, and you have to have your kid, you have to kind of let go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Already you would have to let go even if you stayed in Egypt, but now you have to let go even more.
Yeah.
So
It is scary for them, and I understood that.
Yeah.
And I understood that, and that's why I didn't want to have them worry too much. Like I wasn't doing the far extreme from what I was in Egypt. I eased them into it, you know. Until now, it's normal for them, you know.
Yeah.
So they are also were getting accustomed to the American culture, and they knew coming
Yeah.
here is gonna be more open minded, and that they can't have, you know, a fist in everything I do. I was already 18, already old enough to, you know, talk to them and argue with them about these things, and there weren't a lot of people to look at us the way they looked at us in Egypt. So it was easier
The
for
pressure
them.
was less.
The pressure is less.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that made them relax a bit more. And let me have my day, you know. Yeah. So that was my experience when I first came. But then you didn't come with your parents.
Yeah.
You came alone.
even more terrifying for the parents. Like this is the end of the world.
So they can't even see you.
How did they deal with this? Like, were they on the phone always? Like, you know, was your phone ringing 10 times a day? And, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we were on the phone a lot for sure, but I also didn't, I also was trying to get used to the culture myself, like to let language, to communicating with people, to laughing at the jokes they laugh at. Like it was a lot of adjusting. So I was very scared of everything, like taking everything very slowly and carefully because I don't want to make mistakes, of course. But then, you know, it's been almost 10 years. So I'm more comfortable with the culture, and now they came, so they're also, you know, adjusting to the culture. It was. Friends were very involved. You know, you get to know friends. I moved also a lot, so lots of change. Yeah.
One thing I think is common amongst the three of you is the fact that you come from a home where both parents are still together.
Yeah, that's true, huh?
And so, which is a common thing in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Like you could be hating each other and then you have to still stick
yeah.
together.
Yeah.
But I think all three of you, it's not that. It's not like that. Like your parents.
No.
I know
Praise the
all
Lord.
your parents, and
Thank God, yeah.
they all seem to be happy with each other
Yeah.
and just compatible and everything. So, how does that? How do you think that influences how you approach relationships?
It's a good question.
I'll speak because I'm married.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there's a reason why we are married, and it's really because one of the biggest things I thought about when I liked him was the fact that he was Middle Eastern, and the fact that I could trust. Like I knew, and I remember thinking about that clearly. I said, with him, I mean, two things too. Like the fact that he was also like, I knew he was serious about God. Like God was a big part in his life, and God is a big part in my life, and that was like something I had to have.
Yeah.
But the other fact that he was Middle Eastern, and I just remember thinking that with him, even if it were not to work out, I'm okay. I could trust him with. I'm trusting him with me. Because I know I'll be okay, you know, I'll be respected, I'll be fine. Even if it were not to work out, I'm gonna be okay because, you know, and a big part of it is because he's Middle Eastern. So the culture
You had a lot in
that
common.
we get, and a big part here is the divorce rate, you know, like in the US, which is very, very high.
It's scary, yeah.
And I mean, who wants to get into marriage, you know, thinking that it, you know, I mean, sometimes it does, and you know, you make a wrong mistake, and that's okay, you know, God has grace and mercy for that. But it just, we grew up in a culture where families are together, you get married for life, and generally speaking, for the most part, that's good. For a small percentage, it's not good because, like you said, some people, like some, you know, couple would be like in arguments and would hate each other, but they're still together, and it's not healthy for them, for the kids, you know, everyone, but for generally speaking, I think it's a healthy
Yeah.
thing. Like they're fighters for marriage,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm like the total opposite.
Okay, go ahead.
when I like was okay starting, to start dating, or when guys would approach or anything like that, if they're Middle Eastern, I'd be like, no. I don't want that. I don't want that culture anymore to be because I know what a Middle Eastern culture is.
Yeah.
I don't want to be oppressed again. I don't want to be stopped from, doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so that just made me I don't want that. And I've seen it with a lot of my friends, and I don't want it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But I was just gonna say,
I ended up with a Middle Eastern American, so he's still open-minded. But
he's different. He's very different. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, he's not your typical Middle Eastern.
No,
but
he's not.
I mean, it was just for that reason.
Yeah.
Like
So
I really don't want
what
that.
is a typical Middle Eastern?
Oh yeah.
Here in the US, like
Explain to me.
I don't think I'm not typical.
No, you're not typical.
You're
No,
not.
no. I mean, he still has some like
the mentality,
traditional.
a lot of it
Man
is,
of the
Yeah.
house. I work. I provide. You do the dishes. You have the kids. That's the most like what's expected from a man, I guess. Like in the Middle East. Yeah. Very. Like even now, even this generation still is pretty dominating, and pretty alpha males when it comes to and I didn't want that, so I was like, I want us to be equal. I don't want that roles and so
interesting.
I was totally opposite of you.
Yeah,
Phoebe,
interesting.
has this fact hindered
Yeah, I was gonna
the fact
ask
that you're in a
too.
relationship? You're not in a relationship now. Is that kind of
The fact of what?
the fact that you're you haven't found somebody like your dad, let's say?
Well, let me ask first before that. Are you like me or her? Because I was like, the fact that he was Middle Eastern was a plus for me. But for her, she was like, no, I'm done with this culture.
Yeah.
You're still single, so I want to know.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Middle Eastern men tend to be. Well, my dad is different. Also, my dad is not a typical Middle Eastern man. So he's very gentle, very patient, very he's very patient. So very compassionate, not to dominate. Like he's not dominating or like full of himself or anything. So. I think if I find something like that would be good, but not like everybody, nobody's perfect anyways, but
her dad is perfect.
Your dad is very nice.
no, I think that set the standard really high. I think, it did. And then what was the other part?
So I'm just wondering, like is a Middle Eastern or like Egyptian, like when you look at them, is that a plus or it's like a turn off?
I think it's good to have a lot in common as much as you can, right?
It is.
For compatibility.
I agree.
Yeah. Because you still, I think it gets you closer to each other.
And the language too. Like that's something I'm missing right now. It's like I want to be able to speak and have fun with the the same sense of humor, I guess.
You can teach him. You can teach him.
I'm trying. It's
There's
not
your
gonna-
lingua.
He's doing it actually right now.
Yeah.
So I agree with that, and I agree with her when she said like a Middle Eastern man will probably stick with you way longer than another culture, like because it is in the culture. You stick together no matter what happens, and divorce is the last resort.
Right.
And I agree with those things. I just saw more negatives than
Yeah.
positives, I guess.
Yeah.
What are 3 things you look for or looked for in a man?
I already said, I think.
Who wants to start? 3 things.
I mean,
So we can start with Sandy. Maybe.
Yeah. Go ahead.
okay.
What are 3 things that you looked for in a man that the relationship you're in right now kind of fulfilled?
Yeah.
Communication. Being able to communicate, because I saw a lot of relationships. No communication is not going to work. You got to be able to understand each other, and to be able to work on yourself as well as expect your partner to work on themselves, and not just one person is working towards better relationship, but the other is like, okay. They both have to be working towards a solution or something, and they're willing to sacrifice. You willing to back down a little on what you need in order for you both to have a successful life. It's big things I'm saying, but I'm realizing it now, like how important these were. But obviously someone
You're
who's
growing.
just nice. I am growing. Someone who's just a good person. Like, someone who cares
Define
about...
good.
Good.
Define good.
You know, there's a lot of guys who just don't care about the girl they're with. They don't care about their family. They don't care about their spouses or other significant others' family. They don't want to go anywhere in life. They're just happy where they're at. And that's fine, I guess, for some people. But for me, I wanted someone who wanted to work on themselves and always better themselves. Have a goal, you know, in life. Willing to, I guess, know me, get to know me for me, you know? Yeah, and a good guy is just a good person. Like someone you want to hang out with for the rest of your life, right? He has to be not a horrible person. I don't know how to explain it.
For sure.
You define a good person
Um,
in your context.
well, I mean, I think generally speaking, a good person is someone who's, you know, caring,
Right.
you know, someone who's understanding, mature, like.
Mature is a good one, yeah.
But I think the standards, it's different from one to another, you know, depending on what you prioritize.
Right.
Exactly.
What you value more.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good citizen.
Good citizen. A good person is a good citizen. I like that one.
So, what are your three?
Well, Phoebe, are we going to say?
Okay, all right. I think for me, I prioritize spirituality very much. So I think if a person is closer to God, I think it will be easier to expect the rest, like respect, love, kindness, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Not all of them, right?
Yeah.
Not all of them. And I can't see the heart, you know, God can only see the heart.
Yeah.
But that's when we pray. Prayer is very big to choosing those things or choosing the person who has that. And so, I think spirituality is very important to me. I think respect, like, okay, so we have a few friends that are really like young, you know, girls, and they're like 20s or early 30s, and they're already divorced. And so, and they're Egyptians too, and they married Egyptians. So it's so sad, you know, and it's shocking, and it's a lot of disrespect and abuse, and it's just, it's so sad. So definitely
Trust.
Not that.
trust.
That's a big one.
Trust is a big one. Yeah.
So
Trust someone.
you said spirituality, and then respect, and
trust.
trust.
Yeah.
Trust is a good one, yeah.
Let's just
Thank you. Yeah.
Mine.
What did you look for?
Well, one was God, just because God was and is still very
I
important.
can't wait to
me.
hear.
So God was very, and I knew I wanted someone who has his own relationship with God, you know, because, you know, I really loved going to church. I loved reading the Bible, pray, and I wanted to do that with someone that, you know, not just trying to do it, you know, for me, or like, oh, well, I'll do that, or, you know, like someone who has it already, who likes it already, who's doing it already. So, you know, both of us, you know, we just love what we're doing, and we're just, and, you know, hopefully we give that to the kids. So that was one big one. The other one I would say is someone who's not lazy. And, you know, so I remember when we first started dating, I think Bassam was like in a transition period. He didn't know what he was going to do. He wasn't getting into school. Did you apply to medical? To
Yeah,
dental
that was
school?
the second time I applied.
Okay, so he wasn't getting into
got
dental
rejected.
school.
No, yeah.
He wasn't getting into dental school, and he wasn't, you know, doing much. And he, you know, so I was like, I just need to make sure, like, you know, what are you gonna be doing? You know, like, you know, you wanna make sure you're married, or I mean, dating or whatever, you know, the plans are, to someone who's not lazy, you know, not just sitting on the couch playing video games all day or something. But like that was one big thing, like to just realize, no, he's not. He's hardworking.
He has a goal.
He has a goal in life. He wants, you know, not just like basic things.
Right.
So that's the third one. And I would say trust too. I could really trust
Yeah.
him, because even if it were like, I just remember thinking that early on, because you don't go into you know, a relationship thinking, okay, I'm gonna marry him, and you don't know, you know. Like we started dating, and for us it didn't take that long to know.
I think it's different for the guy and the girl, because as a guy you go into the relationship knowing I'm gonna marry that person. I mean, at least for Christian men.
You go with the intention.
Men are like, we know what we want, and you know, we pursue what
you
we
go
want.
in with the intention, but you don't go in like, you didn't start dating Paula thinking she's the one.
Yeah, I did.
He did.
Otherwise, you would not date. But that's a different.
From him.
Well, he's a good guy. You're generalizing. Guys mostly get in a relationship for an alternative
Right,
reason.
right.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what's interesting is
Know the definition of a good guy.
Well, let me say that.
Yeah, you
let me
can
finish.
finish your
So
point, yeah.
I was just saying, like from the first date, I was not thinking we're gonna get married. I didn't know. I went in thinking that would be great if you know, if it were to work out, but I didn't know, and it didn't take us that long to know. You know, both. I think he first was like, oh, you know, I'm in, and it's just a few weeks after I was like, okay, you know, I'm in too. But from I just remember thinking, like, from the first date, like going out, I thought, even if it were not to lead into marriage, like we're different or something, or we don't get along, or we don't communicate right or something, I don't know, I was okay because I trusted him. You know, I trusted him, you know, like I would be okay. Like we would break up and I'd be completely fine, you know. So trust was big.
Let me see.
But it still didn't take us that long to know that we wanted to get married. But not from the first date.
And so,
First date.
no, so this actually, I think it's a good transition, because not all relationship work, and after being, it's going to be in April. I would have been married for 9 years.
Wow.
So but I know for a fact that not every relationship work, and I know that you know the expression, like, you cannot have like one empty person and that is going to be filled by another. You have to be two full people,
Right.
and it's like you get, you know, the fullness of you becomes like the couple.
Wow.
So the idea is like, then, because there's a lot of, you know, I think that's why a lot of, you know, people in dating, and they're talking about like unrealistic expectation, where like a woman or a man would put on the other person, like, that person is supposed to fulfill all of this for me. But it's like, no, you're actually supposed to be an individual, like, is complete in itself, and you just share together. You're like two. It's not like, you know, two half people that meet and become one. I think that's a lie.
What everybody thinks it
Exactly.
You become your own. You're still your own person within the relationship.
Exactly. And so, like, what is for you? What is your source? Like, how do you, you know? Because, I mean, I'm saying that to anybody out there, like, if you are thinking about your spouse as the person that is always going to bring you joy, you're going to be quite miserable. So, like, there needs to be something external or something deep within that
Outside
actually
yourself,
creates the joy for you. So, what is that for you guys?
Oh.
I don't know. Career, I guess. Career goals.
Career
I
goals?
have my own path that I'm taking.
Yeah.
So I'm always, my mind is busy with something else. I'm not only like, you know, looking at him and what he can do for me. Because I pretty much do
For yourself?
stuff for me. I guess that's one big thing. Yeah. I don't know. What else is there?
For me, definitely is God. Definitely my relationship with God. I can't trust fully anybody, you know, with myself. Like, that would be foolish, I think. Like, I think God always asked us to trust in Him and love others. And I believe, my relationship with God really makes my relationships with others better, more healthy. My relationship with myself even becomes more secure. So that definitely is my anchor. Yeah. What about you guys?
Yeah, I think for me, well, it was interesting when we first started dating. I think we used to see each other every day. I mean, that sounds funny to you, but like, I think we saw each other every day. And I was so busy because I had the first quarter that we started dating. I had planned my quarter without him in the picture. So I was between classes I work, and then classes, and then just I had the gym at night. And I think that whole quarter I would see him at the gym. He would play soccer and I would just go work out and I see him, and that's, that was the time we got to see each other. But I remember, we used to see each other all the time. But it wasn't that, I don't think it was that, he was the source of all of that. Now it just, I think that like we were just, we liked each other so much, we wanted to see each other. But I would say I still was doing my school. I still was, I still was working. Even the summer after we started dating or got engaged, I was working. I was, like an associate pastor at a church. Like I had a full.
You had a full life.
Yeah, I had a full life, and when we got married, I was working and I was doing 2 masters, so I was always so busy. And now with the kids, I'm very busy
I was just
too.
gonna ask you, what about now?
It's so busy. But I mean, it's nice. I don't think he is the source. I mean, he brings so much, like sometimes, you have a long day, or like I literally look forward to just putting the kids in bed and going to bed and like talking or praying, so this is beautiful, but I don't think I cannot put that whole pressure on him.
Yeah.
Because he has his life too. I mean, his work and dentistry, and that's a whole big, like tough life there. So, but I would say like, like what Sandy said, having goals, like you already have so much, like you're not just sitting and have nothing to do and come please, make me happy or fill my day. So you have so many goals, you have things to accomplish. And I would also say that, also having God, because I mean, no matter what the person is, he's human, he's limited, but, you can always rely on God and his infinite.
No, I think it's important to talk about this because I feel like no matter your culture, like we are all influenced by media and TV and all of that. So, and it's always like, it's always like boy meets girl, and like they're kind of the opposite of each other. At first they don't like each other, but they're like, oh, they're super good together. It's
the rom-coms.
Exactly. It's literally, it tells you that idea like you're not complete until you find somebody that's going to complete you. And I think this brings a lot of arms because, you're with the person, but you still feel alone. And, and so you're giving to a relationship the goal of fulfilling something that it's not supposed to fulfill.
Thank you for mentioning that. And I just have to mention that, like, I mean, Phoebe's single here, and I was single at one point. You were single at one point. And it's okay. And that's, okay. I mean, it's so nice to be, it's wonderful to be in a healthy relationship, like, absolutely. If you're in a terrible relationship, it's better not to.
It's a plus in life, I think. It's a plus in life.
Yeah.
It's not your life.
But, I wanted to say also, it's okay if some people will stay single, I would say, like they don't get married and they don't have to get married, and that's okay. I mean, Jesus was single. Paul was single. There are people in the Bible that were single, and that's okay. And like you mentioned, you're complete, and you're not missing for some people, not everyone. You're absolutely complete. You're not missing. You're whole. Your life is fulfilled in singleness. Like it doesn't have to be with a partner that it becomes complete,
So, follow-up question. And it was interesting to see that none of you cared for looks.
Oh yeah,
that's funny.
And what are the things that guys think girls care for? None of you cared for looks or height or any of these things.
Height,
I just heard from Germeen that it was important or money in a sense.
Right.
Germeen had, I think, healthy expectation that her man is gonna work or he's not gonna be lazy.
Yeah,
It is important.
That's
It is.
good.
Yeah.
No, we do look
I
for these
don't-
things.
yes.
But
Yeah.
it's way at the bottom of the list with
Really?
all the things we said.
You said three
Okay.
things.
Yeah, you
I
said
said
three.
It's
things,
just-
Yeah, let me say that providing, of course, it's important.
Yeah, very.
But more than that, just being even if you have like the money, you know, if you go, okay, I have all the money in the bank, you can just spend all your life, but you're a lazy person. It's still like, no, you know, like why it's the personality of being lazy. That's
Yeah.
just, you don't have goals, you don't have aspirations, you don't have, and you pass it on to the kids. So, I don't know. I would still think even if you have like money saved up for life, still as
Yeah.
a man or a woman, you gotta be not a lazy
Proactive,
person,
yeah.
you know, like you have goals, you have things that you work towards. So, but keep going. You said other things.
No,
Yeah.
to build up on that, what are 3 non-negotiables for you? So, is this one of the ones that are non-negotiable?
I think that's what we mentioned.
Yeah, we
just
were
talked
talking
that.
about non-negotiables at this point. It's
Yeah,
like I
that's
can't be in a relationship with someone who's can't communicate, who I can't be myself with,
Yeah.
who you know is not going anywhere in life. I guess.
I think you mentioned
Stuff like
something that's very, very important. And I think for me, when I look at my friends, like you know, your cousin Maggie, I remember when she started dating her husband now, Hani. And the biggest thing that I knew he was like good for her, she was totally herself. She was totally herself. She would laugh loud. She would be herself. And he just loved it.
Yeah.
And then I told her, he's the one, you know, because you can, that's a big, big
Absolutely.
part. You can be like someone you can be yourself with, and that person loves who you are. I just,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
you know, you're loud, you're silly or whatever. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a big, big.
Yeah, I think one of my friends, like, he has parents that have been married forever, like 40 years and something like this. And he told me, like, his dad told him, you really love the person you're with when you start even liking their flaws. You know, when you look at them with such a, you know, a way to look at them that even the quirkiness, the craziness,
Yeah.
the flaw is actually charming to you.
Mm.
So now, you know, like, would you? I already debunked the idea of, like, you know, Hollywood sells you like, you know, you're incomplete until you find that person that completes you. Like, oh yeah, he came, but now we are a full person.
Happy
But
ever
not
after.
real.
is there any other thing? Because there's plenty of, I'm sure there's would be people that would look. And is there any other thing that you guys would like to debunk? Like that is sold like real outside, but it's actually, you know, false.
Happily ever after.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Happily ever after. What does that mean? Happily ever after. Like, you're gonna have arguments. You're gonna have things that you don't disagree on. You're gonna have issues that you work.
Well,
We don't have that.
no, of course, the other
good.
people do. The other people.
Yeah,
Other
perfect.
people.
Yeah, it's good.
I completely agree with you because
Yeah.
it's not. Marriage
All
is
the
hard.
Disney,
yeah.
all the like princess, and that's it. Your life is, you know, amazing.
Yeah.
They
And
should
if you
have
go
sequels
into
of
marriage,
after
if you go into
princesses.
marriage with this expectation, I don't know. You're just gonna be like, okay, I give up.
Yeah.
And
Like,
that's the
give up so
expectations they
easily.
actually give us. Like even
Yeah.
back home in Egypt or in the Middle Eastern culture, they tell you like once you get married, you're good. That's it. That's
Yeah.
this should be your mission in life to
Yeah.
get married and have kids, and then you're set.
Yeah.
But then the girl comes up with these expectations like, hey, I'm gonna be happy. My husband's gonna treat me nice and stuff, and then she realizes, oh, marriage is all about me doing things for him, really, and then
serving him.
they get really shocked and upset, but then they don't leave because the culture tells you not to leave. And so like I want to debunk that. It's
Yeah.
you if you don't know the person, you know, well enough, which in our culture they don't,
No.
before they get married, you're gonna get something that you don't expect. You might be lucky, but that's rare.
Yeah.
So you gotta know the person really well before you marry them, and then you will know the expectation because you've been with them so long.
Yeah.
Like he debunks himself. I guess I don't know.
But
I
it's
don't know how to
good you
explain
let
it.
people know that, you know, like you have to be watchful for those things that are sold to you as real.
Exactly.
It's like you're doing great service right now by debunking this.
Yes.
Because I'm sure there's a lot of women and girls that listen to those stories and like, no, you have to, you know, to know that there will be debunking of that ideal image
Exactly.
that you have. And so, yeah.
We haven't heard from you.
Yeah.
It's okay. I agree with
No, you need to
the guys
debunk
said.
it. You need to
Debunk something.
debunk something.
Yeah, I just contentment, not being chasing after something just because you have to do that right now because you're
That's a good
at
one.
this age. You're oh my goodness, the whole
yeah.
culture is behind you. Oh, what's wrong with you?
Don't
You know?
fall into that
Yeah.
trap.
So,
That's a good one.
so it's better to take the time into that than to just get into it, just to get into it, and then watch it fall apart.
Yeah.
You know.
That's worse.
Yeah, building on that
You
is
wouldn't want that.
debunking the age, like the age
Yes.
limit or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, if you're 30, like that's it. You ain't getting married. No,
Yeah,
it's
no.
not true at all. Yeah.
So on a rank of like 1 to 10, how much do you appreciate your culture that you grew up in?
Ooh.
And then a follow-up question will be
Good question.
rank from 1 to 10. How much do you appreciate this culture that you moved into?
Okay. Oh, that's
Here
hard.
in America.
Just rank?
Just rank. That's it. Just give me a
Just
number.
rank.
Just give me a number.
Okay.
From
I can't speak though. Oh my goodness,
You can
that's
explain
hard.
yourself.
Let me just explain. I really do appreciate Egypt, so I'm gonna say,
absolutely.
yeah, I mean, it's who I am, so it's so hard not to
Right,
say.
right.
This is, I mean, I am because I grew up in Egypt. I was raised in Egypt. I was grew up by Egyptian parents, so it's just I cannot get rid of that. So it's just
Yeah.
me. So I would give it like 8. The American culture. I'm so thankful for the American culture. I'm
Absolutely,
still very,
for
very
sure.
thankful
Yes.
because, I mean, I just remember coming here and thinking like, oh my goodness, I can wear whatever I want and
Right,
walk on the
right.
streets and no one
No
would
one's
bother me. Like
Yes.
things,
It's a big
small
thing.
things like
Yes,
that we
yes.
didn't get to experience in Egypt.
Yeah.
So we experienced freedom and acceptance, and as a woman, you were a person,
Yes.
valued and not, I don't know, they not bothered by whatever you wore, whatever you did. So what should I give it? 8, just because I'm Egyptian. Did I give 9 to Egypt?
No,
No,
you
you-
just
You
8?
You give
Okay,
8.
fine. I'm 8 and 8.
8 and 8. Oh, really? I think I'll have to give America more. So I'm gonna say America 8 and Egypt 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like America will take more just for the freedom part and
Absolutely.
living your life and not being judged by
Right.
what you believe in and who you are and all that stuff. But then of course Egypt has like it's who I am. It's the culture and the good things in the culture.
Yeah.
Looking at the bad things, I have to lower the
Yeah.
score. Yeah, like 5. Yeah. It's like it's
2 or 1.
it's a 5. I mean, if you asked me 10 years ago when I was there, I would give it an absolute 10.
Yeah.
But now that I'm here,
That's a really good point.
I have to lower the scale and give America like a 7.
Yeah, I think also that's a very good point
Okay.
because I think we are also changing as we grow
We
and
are.
as we adapt to this culture. So we get like what I think about relationships and who
Right.
your expectations now is
different.
even different from just when we were dating. It's even so yeah, we're growing into this culture more, adapting to it. Yeah.
So, final piece of advice as a single person.
Yeah, the contentment for sure. Not chasing after something that's just for the wrong reasons or for reasons that you're pressured by the environment
Society.
around your society. And not because you truly are intentional about the step that you're gonna take because you don't wanna. It's worse to watch it fall apart after because you're desperate for it. Yeah.
Sandy?
Take your time. Get to know the person. If you feel you're ready, good. If you feel like you're ready to take the next step and be a wife or to be prepared for both of you to merge your life together, go ahead and do the next step. If not, then take your time and don't rush yourself because of an age limit or because everybody's telling you to do so. And have fun with it. Just go out and enjoy your time and meet each other's families and see
Kind of
each
what
other.
you're doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, see each other with everything, like in bad times and good times. Before you get married, I think it's an important one. Yeah,
Okay.
get to know them.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
A married person. Tell
Yeah.
us.
Well, I think for us it was different because, you know, we were young. I was 23 and you were 26 when we got married. And so I feel like in a way we were lucky because we didn't think much. Right? We just got married. I feel like
true, yeah,
the
yeah.
longer you wait, you think more.
Right,
You
right.
have more.
Yeah, that's true.
Your brain develops more.
Yeah,
You second guess
Second
the
thoughts.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not regretting the decision in any way, but you know, because we made a good choice. But some people do make the wrong mistake, and
Right.
and that's okay. You know, you make the wrong choice, and
Yeah.
you know,
You learn from them.
you learn
Yeah.
from it, you move on, and it doesn't mean the end of it. You know, you can
Exactly.
still enjoy a wonderful relationship. But I mean, I would just have to agree. Don't be pressured by society. Make sure you have your non-negotiable.
Right.
For everyone, it's different.
Right.
And if this is what you think, I cannot live with this. I just cannot. Don't go and pay, you know, just wait for it, pray about it, and you know, say, Lord, you know, that this is me. Just help me meet that person that would fit, you know, within this.
Yeah.
I mean, don't make it too deep. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not going to tell you what to put, but don't make it too ridiculous where you cannot find, because everyone has
Yeah.
flaws. But
Yeah.
what are things that you just cannot live with that?
Yeah.
And just write it and wait. Don't be pressured. Yeah, I'll say that.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, Sandy, Phoebe, Germeen, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We'll talk more about this later.
Yeah.